Welcome back. We're going to change the oil on this Lexus GX460 today. It's got a RCI skid plate, as you're going to see here in a moment. There it is. Now don't worry if you don't have a skid plate, a aftermarket RCI skid plate like this on your GX460, because your GX460 comes with a stock skid plate. And it's pretty much similar. So in other words, even though this skid plate is thicker than the OEM skid plate, you're still going to have to contend with a skid plate if you have OEM skid plate. So a lot of this video will be the same no matter what type of skid plate you have. Anyway, there's an access hole in the RCI skid plate for your oil drain plug. OEM is the same idea. Get a 14 millimeter in there and loosen up your drain bolt. Again, you're going to have an access hole like this on your OEM or stock skid plate, all the same. Once you get that loosened, try not to drop the drain bolt in your pan of hot oil, but that's likely to happen anyway. So you might as well, I guess, get ready for that possibility. Now, this is the oil filter access that you see here. And this oil filter access is on the RCI skid plate. And it's got some 12 millimeter hex heads that I put there last time. Originally, this skid plate came with kind of Allen, recessed Allen head bolts that kind of stripped away, and they were a pain to get out last time. So I went ahead and put normal hex bolts, and there's a few ways to get them out here. These are stripped, by the way, so from off-roading and bashing them, you can see I'm using locking pliers there. Locking adjustable pliers, those are great, by the way, if you've never used them. You could also use a pipe wrench, which is what I'm showing here. So there's a few ways to get stripped bolts off: pipe wrench, locking pliers, vice grips, whatever you got. The point is to get them out and don't put them on that tight. Remember, this is just an access door, so it's going to get bashed up off-road, and the heads are going to get smashed no matter what you do. So when you put them back on, don't put them there on that tight. There's a view of the oil filter from the bottom. That's the plastic, there it is again. It's got like a plastic case. It's the plastic type. It's not the metal type. It's the plastic type with the paper filter, which you'll see here in a minute. Now, access in this RCI hole here, access hole, is diabolical. Now, that's not the fault of RCI, though I guess theoretically they could have improved the design here and opened this up a little bit more and tweaked it around, but whatever. It's not the fault of RCI. It just is what it is. So get in there with whatever you got. But eventually, I had to resort to going on the side of the skid plate here with a bunch of extensions and a universal joint. So that's what it took to get the old filter out, which you see there.
So here's your drain plug. And just a normal drain plug. But you're going to want to put on a new Toyota washer on your drain plug. So don't forget to use a new washer every time, and always use Toyota genuine washers. So this one just pops right on your old drain plug and you'll be good to go. Again, make sure the old drain plug is off before you put this one on. Now, it doesn't matter what's on sale at AutoZone. Always use your genuine OEM Toyota filter. This is what you want. This is going to be your best filter that you can get, hands down. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is premium stuff, and the filter material, as you can see, is really, really, really good. So always use a real, actual Toyota filter. This one is going to be made in, I don't know, it doesn't say where it is. Thailand, Taiwan, I don't know. Thailand. You can kind of see it there, hiding under the sticker. Thailand, which is good. That's like saying made in Japan. That's not China. Thailand is the same as made in Japan these days. Now here, it's going to come with an O-ring here, as you can see. So make sure you, put your O-ring back on. This is your oil filter housing, and you can kind of see what's going on inside. Once you get it relatively clean, you're ready to put on your O-ring. You can use engine oil. What I have here is just some basic silicone, and you're just going to essentially dab a glob of silicone all over this, and you'll be good to go. So I'm just, as you can see, putting the silicone just with my fingers all around this. And I don't even think you need a pick or anything. Now you're going to remember what groove. It's not in the bottom, it's kind of in the middle here. And you can just roll it down, I think, with your fingers here. And as long as you're in the groove all the way around, you're good to go. That's it. So the silicone or grease or oil, whatever, helps keeps this from rolling and pulling and going places it shouldn't go. All right, so you got your new plug here, your O-ring on your filter, and then you got your new Denso filter. Doesn't matter which way you put it in. Just go ahead and pop this on the top. And it's spring-loaded at the bottom, and that's normal. And that's it. That's what it looks like, ready to go back in your car.
All right, once you get yourself back under your car, put your drain plug in. Don't forget, again, that washer. When we took this off, I mean, it's common on any vehicle for the washer to stick to the pan. Sometimes you don't know it's stuck there, and you'll end up putting two washers back on. So just take your time, and if the washer sticks to the pan, get a screwdriver or a pry bar or whatever, scrape anything you got it laying around to scrape it off. Tighten your bolt there. Snug. I don't know the torque spec. You just learn it after a while. It's just basic stuff. Don't go crazy tight. Just snug it down. And I've never seen these drain bolts leak with or without a washer. So you're going to be good. But use a torque wrench if you want the exact torque spec. So here we are, and we're going to put the oil filter in now. So for the oil filter, again, I'm using a bunch of extensions with a universal, swivel head on the front, connected to the oil filter wrench, that big hex wrench that's keyed 4 ways, 3 on the top, 1 on the bottom. Now comes the question everybody's going to ask, and the controversy. How often should I change my oil? And the answer is every 10,000 miles. But hold on, a YouTuber over here with 1 million subscribers says the best way to change oil on a Toyota is every 5,000 miles. He's got 1 million subscribers. Well, guess what? Toyota has $307 billion, not subscribers, dollars in revenue. And ExxonMobil has over $350 billion, not subscribers, dollars in revenue. So who are we going to go with here? Let's go with Toyota and ExxonMobil. Let's just keep it 100% real. Those are the corporations with the engineers that have done the real, actual scientific testing. And let's talk about science. So let's start with science, and we don't have any actual scientific data that says 10,000-mile oil changes are somehow bad. People send their oil to Blackstone Labs and other labs that analyze used engine oils after 10,000 miles, and objectively the numbers come back okay. They come back good. That 10,000 mile figure that Toyota, Lexus, and ExxonMobil and all the other major synthetic oil manufacturers give you, that's a conservative value. 10,000 miles is the answer. This oil change today, you're supposed to change it 10K or 1 year, whichever comes first. We're over that 1 year. We're at a year and a half here, so I'm pushing it on the time frame, but I think it's okay. But I'll stick to a year and a half because 10,000 miles and 1 year is conservative.
All right, as we go ahead and fill this GX460 back up with synthetic 0W20, it's going to take, keep in mind these are, there's an anecdotal side to this. So we've got our science and we got our anecdotes, and anecdotal side is, long interval oil changes have been around since the 80s. Hondas have had 7,500 mile oil changes in the 80s on regular oil, not synthetic, just regular. Our last car, 1995 Camry, called for 7,500 mile oil changes on regular oil, and that went to 300,000 miles before the stock clutch or original clutch died. The engine worked just fine, and it passed California smog. So, we've been changing oil at 7,500 miles and more since the 80s. And in our last Camry, we only changed it every 1 year or every 12,000 miles with regular oil, and it passed smog just fine at 300,000 miles. Worked great.
Deal. As she shouted, it's the funky lesson 1 to the